So, hello, Victor. I thanks for taking the time. We have finally again a Road to CTA video, and today we want to talk about the topic being soft. So, Victor, you recently had a successful implementation of the concept of being soft.
Right. First of all, I'm happy to be here. You know, like they ask famous people, how do you know that you made that, really make that? And they said, hey, this event. So if you are making me an interview, it means that I did something good. Well, so.
No, you
Hi,
really.
Mom.
Honestly, but you really impressed me. But let's give our followers what happened, Victor.
Yeah, so we met with you, part of Flow Republic. I had a problem with one of the scenarios. I was struggling of what choice to take, and I wasted too much time on that and eventually changed it many times. And you just told me you have to be soft, which means choose something, don't waste time, move along, you will adjust on the way. And it's something that I don't usually do. I'm one of the people that I plan a lot and then I don't do too much because I already planned that. And it doesn't work here because you will waste all your time and you have so much ground to cover. And basically I decided to do whatever you told me. I choose the first thing that it looks the best chance or the best thing for that moment. And later I adjust. Many times my intuition is good enough, but if not, it's not too bad. You change few boxes, few fields, and it works quite well. So, yeah.
Okay, so you basically allow yourself to change your mind.
I allow myself to change my mind and not overthink. This is the most important thing. I don't need to nail the whole solution from the first point because life are dynamic. So I take something and I adjust on the fly and readjust, and I'm not afraid of that anymore. So in a way.
Nice. So let's start first with what was your way of thinking before becoming soft? How did you approach a problem?
I don't know enough. I need to understand better. You touch, you own that. What if I made a mistake? Then I need to change everything, or I don't know. You have this a barrier from it's like you think you're building a house, and if the infrastructure is bad, the whole house will collapse, but it's only paper eventually. So you go with that. If you don't like the paper, switch the paper. You lost maybe 1 minute, but the fact that you are not overthinking, you saved another half an hour. So you know.
Got it. Do you think you can even come to better outcomes being softer?
First of all, yes, because for 100% I will finish everything on time, and which is our goal, right?
Didn't even think about that, but a decision made is better than a good solution is better than no solution. Always.
Bad solution is better than no solution because eventually you can always readjust during the presentation. You can say, hey, I did made a mistake, but this is not what you see. It's not what I'm going to present. So you have second chance, right? Secondly, if you finish on time, you have so many chances to readjust your solution because you will have all those hints along the way, like change that. No, this is not what I meant. And eventually it's only paper, which can absorb anything, right? So yeah, time and speed here is everything, and you have to make decision fast. And even a bad decision can be easily fixed. So it's not that
Got
bad.
it. Is there a skill you needed before you could become soft? Is there something you needed to be able to do?
I think you need to believe that it's an experience. When you're going through that again and again, I did so far like 70 modes, 70. All of them, I begin with a feeling like, what am I doing here? It's like, I have no idea. It's so long, but always I manage to solve. So you have to remember, no matter what the scenario you will have, you will manage to solve that on time. And at the end, it will look as not as bad as it is. So you have to remember that. I think it's an experience. Like the more you do, the better you become.
I still have the issue when I read a scenario the first time to this day, and I have done, as like yourself, many scenarios. I'm like, what am I doing here? There's no way of solving it. And then, like you say, as soon as I remember I can do that, be soft, be nice to the scenario, enjoy the scenario, have fun, it's gonna work.
Exactly.
What was, I mean, you came to solutions in the past with not being soft. What kind of solutions do you come to the same solutions nowadays, or is it actually different solutions? Or do you just come to the same ones faster?
So the first mock that I did with Flow Republic took me 20 hours. It was bad solution, and I knew that if you give me additional 20, probably I won't be able to solve it. And now when I look at that, it looks funny because I can solve the same within 2 hours. So you become much faster with time. You have better intuition. With each scenario, you think about alternatives, about things that you didn't think before. So even now, if you choose suboptimal solution, it's not like you're off completely. It's still a solution that you can defend under some circumstances, but sometimes during the solution, you understand that you could do better. And again, the adjustment is really easy. So you choose opportunity, you pivot to order or to custom objects. That's it. You're not sure it's a lead or a case, so choose one, later you will adjust. It's not like big change.
This is maybe the one skill you learned along the way. The one big skill is be able to adjust your solution. Is that something you learned over the last couple of months? Quickly
Definitely.
adjust.
I used to try to solve it like within one requirement to nail all of the stuff, and now I'm going one by one. I know that nothing is going to break your solution on the spot. You need to present a really bad solution, you have to make a lot of effort. Like it's kind of like raising a baby. If you love your baby, they will be fine, even if on paper you're not the best parent. You have to love them, right? It's same here, like being a parent. You have to solve. Worst case, it will be suboptimal. Very difficult to make a really bad solution. You need to like really push yourself.
And maybe this is the point. The first scenarios we both did, and as far as the Flow Republic, we pushed ourselves really, really hard. And this is why we came up with so many bad solutions. I think we pushed too hard. I pushed too hard. I tried too hard to come up with a good solution.
This is one. I think what was the tipping point for me, it's your chaos method. It was a really idiotic method. When you showed me that, I thought, this is what I paid for. To annotate, but then I said to myself, okay, whatever you are doing is not working, let's try that stuff. And it somehow it works. I take a requirement, I ignore all the rest, I solve that, and it's like a jigsaw puzzle. You add one and another one, the frame is nice, you have the requirement solution, the sharing solution, and suddenly you find a way how to adjust all of that. It's like a magic, everything falls into its place, which it's like climbing the mountain. You don't look at the top and you say, oh my God, how I'm going to do that. You think about your next step and your next step and the step after, and suddenly you're on the top of the mountain.
Yeah, fun fact, you say my new hobby is jigsaws. Oh, you don't see it here. My new hobby is jigsaw puzzles.
Oh, I can see it now, yeah.
I always have a jigsaw puzzle now, literally right next to my desk.
Instead of mocks, you're doing puzzles. I can relate to that. It's similar.
And it's the same, like you say, you start with the borders, and first you have like 1,000 pieces, and you think they're not gonna fit together, but you start with the borders, and then you find one piece and another one is long. You're not cramping up. You're gonna be fine.
Exactly. It's all here, not to break.
What happens if you cramp up? What happens if you become hard and tough?
You begin to think what I'm doing here, right? You lose the belief in yourself, and it's not a good place to be. You have to remember, I did that before, I did that successfully. I have 3 hours, whatever time, depends on what you are doing. I did it before, I will do it now. Let's choose something, move on. In 15 minutes, it all will become better. I will know for sure if I made the right choice.
Nice, because sometimes hints for the right choice come later in the scenario, is it?
Exactly. Sometimes you don't not sure, and you get a hint by the end of the scenario that you have to pivot to something else, like mobile. Suddenly you need to pivot to something else because you have a new requirement. So you just adjust. Control F to find all the references. And
yeah, this is a good recommendation with the mobile. Instead of thinking about the mobile type of mobile solution for too long, the changing you from native to hybrid as an architect is really easy because you literally change one word.
Right, and you can, even if you miss that, it's not too bad. You adjust on the fly. Oh, I forgot to change that, so it's not a publisher, it's hybrid, and the flow is basically the same, the authentication flow, right? So it's the same with the rest. With objects, it's a bit more sensitive. I strong believer if you have a solid data model, basically, I don't know what you need to do to fail. Like when it's a solid data model, everything comes to its place, so it's a bit more sensitive. But again, you have more than 2 hours to adjust. Even if you choose the wrong object out of 20, maybe you will have confusion about 3 that you will kind of think this one or that one. And again, you can justify any one of them, I think.
So good point. What is with the jigsaw puzzle? I have to do the borders first. What's the borders for you in a CTA scenario? Where do you have to be thinking hard and long to not make a mistake?
I think the most things that there are 3 things that are vital in my opinion: licenses, system landscape, and data model. System landscape, very difficult to do a major mistake. You need to
None of my students makes mistakes in the system landscape anymore. This is kind of a solved problem. I mean, the variance is not that big, let's be honest.
Right, it's like you can sometimes the biggest question, canvas or an integration, but yeah, very
this
difficult
is literally the only question. Or, oh, why did you choose Okta over Ping?
Right. A license, basically you can make a mistake if you are being sloppy. Some requirement you read, you didn't update. This is the only situation which you will do a mistake. Now, data model.
No, there's one more rule. If people come up with the licenses first and then fit their solution to the license instead of building the solution first and fitting the license to the solution.
I like the second approach, SP license, Salesforce platform license by default, and let's see how we climb from here, right?
Yes.
And at the end, you see maybe we need to downgrade because you gave too much and you don't really need that. But again, it's something that you can adjust on the fly. But
the data model is let's say it has to be solid. Yes, sometimes you have binary choices like opportunity versus order.
Right.
But if you miss both of them, you're almost done. There's almost no way of recovering.
Very difficult. I like the approach, like when I judge mocks of my friends and people that I study with, I usually look at ERD, one of the first thing. When you look the ERD, you know if the solution is good or bad, or where you are going to grill someone. Kind of, if you have a solid ERD, very, very difficult like to make it fail. So it's probably the most important stuff to decide custom, standard, relationship, cardinality, LDV, all of that. This is something that is, if you invest some thinking, I think this is the place to think.
100% agree with that. There's one more thing I want to add, which makes it important, is solve every single requirement in a proper way so it works. It sounds a little bit funny, but you know what I mean.
It's true, but it's very difficult to do that because sometimes we ignore stuff. Kind of, you have a requirement and you have a tunnel vision. I didn't see that. You ignore that completely, and then when you have the presentation, you read that and you said, shit, this is the unwanted guest here, and then you kind of pray, please don't ask me about that because I don't have an answer. I just ignore that. It's something that's difficult to do.
Does your method of becoming soft help you there as well?
Yes, I usually I add a marcation like 3 question marks to come back to that, or I just threw something. What happens with our brain, and I see that in work, sometimes you have a really hard task, you have no idea how to solve. Day later, when you're going for running or jogging, suddenly you have a really gentle solution for that. This is what I do here. I throw something. If I have time, I come back. And sometimes during the presentation, suddenly, oh, I can solve it like that, and you didn't think about that like a few hours before. So but again, move on. One requirement won't break that in most cases, right?
Why do you always throw a solution that could work at a problem?
So first of all, you might not have time to come back. Second, you already triggered some process, I think, in the back of your mind. You gave some maybe a lousy solution. Probably it's a lousy solution, but it's a solution. It's better than nothing. And possibly when you come back to it during the Q&A, you have a few more seconds to think about it, to take a sip of water, as I'm going to take now because my mouth is dry. And while doing that,
The same here.
while you're doing that, you think about that. So you have much more chances to defend that solution. Or, you can always say, I cannot think of something, let's skip to the next one and come back to it later if we'll have time. And I think it's also fine.
But no solution is by definition wrong. So any solution is always better than none.
Right. It's not
so you are not afraid of suboptimal solutions anymore?
I prefer bad solution over no solution, because no solution you gave up before you had a fight. Bad solution, you can even, I think, and maybe I'm wrong, if you even explain the way you are thinking, you can get some points. At least you think. It's better than to say, hey, it's not my problem, it's not here, so kind of go away. Right?
Let's put it this way. I don't know how judges work. No, I'm not a judge myself, never judged. Nobody knows, but a bad solution in your mind might be even an okay solution. Maybe it's an okay solution. If it works, why not? Of course, don't put a solution that it doesn't work. Don't put a solution that it's obviously wrong. But if you think that could work and it follows best practices, it works, it scales well, why not? I mean,
and sometimes bad solution is the optimal solution.
Yeah, sometimes we have to. Right. Sometimes we have to manually migrate 5,000 printed documents and scan them and manually migrate them. Sometimes.
Sometimes it's ugly as it sounds, and you cannot. No one invented the better integration than the swivel chair integration. But hey,
this is a good. Just for me personally, when I do data migrations, half the times when I clean up data, it's actually faster to clean it up manually, line by line.
Right. ETL is a nice tool, but sometimes you have the inspector, Excel, you clean that, push that, and forget about that, and it just works, right? I totally agree.
Exactly. Instead of like trying to write the perfect script, which cleans up all the addresses, you just, how many is it? 2,000. Okay, it takes me 8 hours. How long will writing the script take me? Probably 16. Let's just, it's annoying, but so this is a good point. Sometimes the bad solution is actually the best one. So coming back to your becoming soft, did you become more tolerant towards bad solutions?
For mine or others?
Both.
I try so for mine, I always, like, if I'm not sure, I try to think about user experience, because after like, if we put everything aside, the theory, you have people that are going to use that, and I try to imagine I'm instead of them. Sometimes you can have an optimal solution, but as an user experience, it's not that great. And I always will prefer the user experience, because eventually it's real life, right? Does it make sense what I'm saying?
100%. I'm 100% with you, because at the end of the day, users don't care about anything but what they see, and they pay the bill. Who else? Nobody else pays the bill.
They don't care how beautiful your code is. They want it to be user-friendly. And I know from myself, I try not to read instruction when I buy something. I try to understand. Only if I get stuck, I open the instruction, right? You know how it works with everything, basically. Same with users. You want something to be intuitive. And same when I see people's solution that I don't like, I always, let's say I didn't get their point. I ask, okay, I'm a user. Walk me through, what do you see? And many times I agree that maybe on the first glance, it looks like a bad solution, but actually when you walk you through, it's a decent one, it might work.
Good point. Very good. So you became almost like, So, hey, if you sum it up again for people on the road to CTA, could you have become softer earlier in your journey? Would have helped you to become soft earlier?
I think it did, and like I passed recently the evaluation, and I had
Congratulations there.
thank you. I had exactly like the nightmare that could be. I didn't understand the scenario. I didn't have enough time, and after a few minutes, I was looking at myself and telling like almost 9 months, almost 1,000 hours. What are you doing here? It's not for you, right? And then I remember what you said. Just put something, go along with that. I had, I think, not the best solution, but I had some solution, and I changed a lot during the presentation and a lot more during the Q&A. So and I think the being soft is basically saved me. Like choose something when you present and you talk about that, you begin suddenly realize that you might have something better, and you just adjust that. And it's like a puzzle. When you have a clear picture in your mind, you don't really need the artifacts. You can answer any question because you have it here. And yeah, it's very important because you might be lucky to get the perfect scenario industry that you're familiar with, and everything will be like all the stars will align. But you know, it might not happen. So right.
Who of you has done the mega print scenario out there of the people who watch it? I done a mega print, became quickly my favorite scenario. But the first time I read the scenario, I had absolutely zero idea what's the business model. Only once I started becoming soft and trying to like solve one problem at a time and see where the puzzle pieces fall, I understood, this is the business process.
It's funny that you mentioned this was my first soft scenario after I met with you, part of the Flow Republic scenario. I don't remember the name of the scenario, but Newswork. It was bad. My solution I felt was bad. Eventually, it wasn't that bad, but you told me being solved. I did the day after mega print. I only understood what's going on by the end, but being I was soft. The path that I choose was a good one, a decent one. I didn't adjust almost, and I solved it within time. And it's not an easy scenario. It's definitely different from all the rest, like from the old Salesforce scenarios that were published. But yeah, like being solved, because of being solved, I solved it on time within 3 hours. I was very proud of myself, and I told you about that. Hey, it works.
Thank you, thank you. I am super happy there. Good. So, Victor, I want to wrap it up. Want some last words for the visitors besides, yeah. For the watchers, sorry, the visitors.
One last word. I'm, as you understand, I'm now in a journey to CTA. I believe it's a matter of time until I get that. So I say that as a statement. It will be probably on YouTube, so anyone can use that against me. I enjoy the journey. I learned so much. I can feel it in every day when I work. I enjoy the journey because I meet really the cream of the industry, really smart people that I have a chance to think about stuff, solutions, and approaches. I have so many new people that new connection that I make with the really great people that I can ask about some professional questions related to the journey or professional stuff, which is really amazing. So I think it's worth that, only that. But still, I want it to be official, to have the paper. But
yeah, I completely understand you. I think this is one of the things about journey to CTA. You meet all these people, not only the cream of the cream, but they all are at their prime of their career.
Right.
You know, this is like a match. You're part of the, not the best of the best. There are people good, because I have to say the same for you. You also surprised me. All of my students surprised me in their own way, because there's not two students who come with the same background, the same attitude, the same solutions. For example, coming back, you did something which I really like, but all of my students actually do, is you have been soft in the sense of you took feedback. You can't become CTA without taking feedback. No.
Right. And yeah, this journey is very, like you said to me once, you probably learned for your all certificates by yourself, and it's something that you cannot do by yourself. And I felt that I invest like 25, 30 hours per week, every week. I don't have weekends, mornings, evenings. And I felt that wall that I cannot go over. And every feedback that I got from you, because you see so many students, even if I didn't agree, I gave it a chance. Most of your feedbacks were correct. One of them wasn't correct. You told me there is zero chance that you will be ready for evaluation in 2 months,
I know.
but I did that.
You
I did
surprised me
that.
there. I know.
Yeah, yeah.
You proved.
You told me
me
6 months, 2 months, you have no chance. At least 6, and by the way, during the evaluation, I thought to myself, now I need to tell Johan that I didn't pass and he was right. Oh my God, I don't want to do that. I don't want to tell you you were right.
Yeah. And I was so happy when I got the feedback from you. But like, fuck, my recommendation was completely off, because usually I can't tell if somebody passes, but I'm usually good at telling if somebody is not passing. You know what I mean? It's easier to tell. But hey, you surprised us all, and maybe you just all you needed is the becoming soft. You had the technical knowledge, or did you, Victor?
I feel that back then I didn't have enough. Now I feel I have all the technical knowledge. Now I have a bigger challenge. It's much easier to bridge the knowledge. There is a lot of knowledge, a lot of things to remember to pull it like that. But the presentation, to make it better, like you need to convey maximum information in minimum words. It's an art, very difficult to improve. This is what I'm working on now. And this is my next challenge. It's really something which is really difficult to to bring to perfection.
You optimize sentence by sentence, don't you?
I try to do that. You don't have spare time. Every sentence that you say, it's 20 seconds that you can use to defend your solution and potentially pass. And also, like, I know when I'm judging, when people speak too much, you lose the context after a while. It's kind of, okay, move over. You're off, or it's not what I was asking. Right?
Yeah, when I'm judging, there's and I notice my mind wandering. It can have two reasons. Either the student is so good, I'm getting bored. You know what I mean? But if the solution is just perfect, then my mind starts to wander. Or if the answers are too long, and even if the answer is correct, but it's too long, I lose interest.
And also they lose the chance to defend the solution. I usually, in the Q&As when I judge, I always try to make someone feel uncomfortable, even if the solution is perfect, because you are doing them a favor. You are shaking them to the ground, and they need to keep it cool to defend the solution or to adjust, because even if the judges will be the most nice people, you still will be nervous by the whole situation. So you have to know how to cope with that in a real life. But yeah, I totally agree with you.
Good. Thank you very much. We have to stop it here. Hey, thanks a lot, Victor. I wish you all the best on your journey. I think everyone else can look up on LinkedIn and see the CTA title soon enough in your LinkedIn bio. Latest, okay, no more predictions by me about Victor, because you
can say whatever you want. I might fail the first, second board. I'm too invested in that. I'm going to nail that. It's a matter of time. This is my approach.
Nice. This is the right attitude. Okay, see you. Thanks a lot. So I will.
Thank you.